Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff, Alison McConnell and Tom McManus are here with me, and thank you to you for your support over the course of this season. Our figures are in and we are breaking records right, left and centre, right across all our social media as well, and our podcast, which you're downloading in great numbers. So thank you to each and every one of you for following us, and if you get a chance, share some of our content, and we'll get even more people to join the football family. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button and you can join PLZ Soccer and watch so much content right across all our platforms. So, Football Show looking ahead to the Scottish Cup with 8 teams, all with eyes on getting to the semi-finals. We'll also look back at last night in the Europa League as well. Lots to talk about, but I would like to start by just saying our thoughts go out to Rangers fan Christpher Potter's family. He tragically lost his life in Istanbul, and I'm sure I speak for everybody on the Football Show and right across football in Scotland. The last thing you want to read and hear about is a fan who's gone to a game and doesn't get the chance to come home to his family. It's an absolute tragedy, and our thoughts and prayers go out to all of Christopher's family and friends. The Rangers game itself out there in Istanbul, did any of us call it that they were going to win?
I was the closest, Peter.
Yeah, what did you say?
I went a draw.
Yeah.
You all went Fenerbahce, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I won one each.
Yeah. Yeah, you did actually. You went a draw as well, Ruffy. But to be perfectly honest with you, you're still both wrong. Because Rangers, I just thought they were absolutely magnificent, Alison.
Yeah, I think so too. I thought it was a really bold performance, the way that they were set up. I thought it was very clever. I think they just the counter-attacking play was fantastic. I thought Dessers was outstanding. Diamonde I thought was outstanding. I think when you look over the piece at the 2 goals that were chopped off, it could have been a more comprehensive victory, but I think they'll be delighted just with the manner of the performance and what they've got now to take back to Ibrox next week.
Yeah, nice of Barry to mention that only he changed the tactics, Ruffy. The other 3 in the background must have been going, what about that?
Yeah, it's usually a team effort. We all get round the table and we decided we were going to do this, but no.
I'm joking, right? He deserves credit, doesn't he?
Of course, I take everything, the way things are going, the highs of the Kilmarnock game, the lows, the Motherwell one, and then to go back up again, well done to them, well done to Rangers. I don't think even Rangers supporters would have thought they could have went there and won that game. But they did, and they got everything that was going. They got wee breaks here and there. We got Jack Buckland making 3 tremendous saves. So everything on the night went for them, and good luck.
The one thing, Ruffy highlighted the saves that Buckland has made in the game, but it could have been 5-1. I mean, there's 2 goals, Tom, that, it is marginal to say the least, and that's why I can't wait for IFAB to embrace Arsene Wenger's suggestion of clear daylight between 2 bodies for offside, because Rangers could have had a few more.
Yeah, I think when it's that close, it should go, the advantage should go to the attacking team attacker, and hopefully that will come in the next couple of seasons. But yeah, I think Barry deserves great credit. I've seen the team and I thought he would play 3 at the back. Tavernier's come into the central defence in recent weeks and looked pretty solid. They had legs on the outside and both wing backs. They had 3 kind of hard working kind of dogs in the middle of the park, and they had Czerny just playing a free roll off of Dessers. And honestly, it was every time Rangers get the ball, Fenerbahce were flooding 5, 6, 7 players. It was 1 or 2 passes and Rangers were running onto their back too. So yeah, I think Rangers will be disappointed that it's not tie over. I think it's all but tie over. I think 3-1 they're massive favourites. I think 4 or 5 in the game the tie's over. But I was really impressed with Rangers, really impressed with the bravery that they showed on the ball in a tough environment. And yeah, I think Dessers is such an enigma. You seen him in Europe, and if you're a Turkish team looking at his performance last night, you're thinking, who's this?
Yeah,
he was absolutely incredible. He had a great performance. As Alison said, Diamonde was superb as well. Czerny, I think he's got 17, 18 goals this season. So he's been a wonderful loan signing. And everything's really positive for a Rangers point of view. They go back to Ibrox. Fenerbahce now need to come out, which I think is going to suit Rangers down to a T, same as last night. If Fenerbahce took a 1-0 or 2-1 at home, Jose would park the bus. they've got to come out and attack Rangers and try and score goals. I think Rangers will batter them again at Ibrox, to be honest.
Of course, Dessers deserves tremendous praise. He is very much the divisive character for some people, but 22 goals deserves a bit of praise, and the Rangers manager, Barry Ferguson, was first to step up.
Yeah, well, one thing I've always said about Big Cyriel is he gives you 100%. I thought tonight at times, again, he's shown that he can be a real quality striker. Look, he knows he needs to work on some things, but one thing about him is he's one of the guys after training that will stay behind and work on some weaknesses that maybe we see or he sees in his game. But again, I thought he led the line superbly tonight, and I was absolutely delighted for him.
Yeah, I mean, at times, Ruffy, I mean, his assist was sublime.
Yeah, you have to say in the window, obviously Rangers were trying to push him out the door. They were obviously needing some money in. I think whatever money they were thinking about in January would have doubled now with what he's done in Europe. I think there'll be other teams out there will have seen that he is a goal scorer. Yeah, he's got some flaws, but on the evidence of last night, that's when the money goes up, when you start producing it against European sides.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there are times, I mean, this is the flip side of it all. I suppose if you think about it, I say 22 goals, and if you think about some of the chances that he's missed along the way, Alison, you could probably say he could easily be at 30 and beyond right now, because the other flip side of this is some Rangers fans are exasperated with him when he gets an easy chance, or maybe he's got too much time to think about it.
Yeah, he could still get to 30 by the end of the season. It wouldn't be out with the realms of possibility and still have critics. I think he's an instinctive striker. I think he performs better when he doesn't have time to think about it. I think when he just goes and it's very much in the moment. I think he's a very clinical finisher. However, when there's time on the ball, I think he's too ponderous. I think he's too slow to make a decision. But you cannot fault some of the finishes that he's had, particularly in the Europa League this year. That goal at Old Trafford, his performance last night. I think for anyone going in like Barry just now, the challenge is to say, how can we get the best out of him in a domestic sense? And I suppose it's a question that applies to that team as a whole. What's going on that you're not getting these performances in a domestic sense? Is it just, is it a combination of factors? Is it about pressure? Is it about not expectation levels? Or is it about being able to play with space and being able to play instinctively? These are all questions. But in terms of Dessers, I think it is, can you get those kind of performances out of him on a domestic level? Because if he can take those kind of finishes into his game on a regular basis, he's unstoppable for Rangers.
Yeah, of course, Dessers himself was first to admit that while it was a great performance, as far as the team's concerned, they certainly cause a fair bit of consternation domestic for him, different from Europe, and he reckons Europe suits them.
We've been a team of ups and downs, especially in the league, but I think in Europe we showed a very consistent form, and sometimes it's hard to explain, but I think the football in Europe suits us a little bit more at this moment, but yeah, we have to take confidence from this as well and try to find the consistency and try to start doing this as well in the league.
I can understand where he's coming from, Tam, because I think at times Rangers have to take it to teams domestically, and they get found out because there's not enough of them who, when they go forward, they leave that back three or back four exposed, and then, mayhem usually ensues. That's where they've lost their games.
Yeah, I think that it suits Rangers in Europe, and it has for a number of years because of that, Peter. I think that teams attack Rangers. Teams, I think, maybe underestimate Rangers. I think they underestimate Scottish football. They underestimate Scottish football teams in Europe, and they just think Fenerbahce last night were a joke at times. They were just piling everyone forward when they went 2-1 down, and Rangers were picking them off, and that's been the same in a lot of games in Europe where teams just attack Rangers and just think it's a Scottish team, let's just go and attack them. They've not got anything at all about them, and they get found out.
But even when they were pressing, Tam, I think to give Rangers the ultimate credit here, at times I was sitting watching the match and I'm looking, and then they tried to press them and Rangers would be able to play it out. There was a flick here, there. The Raskin pass for Czerny's goal is out of this world.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, they were neat and tidy in the middle of the pitch. I think the three players in there helped them. And as I said, 1, 2, 3 passes were taking out 4 or 5 Fenerbahce players and were running onto the back too. So, yeah, I really do think that European football suits Rangers. I think they'll go through this tie, and You know, it just amazes me that teams actually, when they go and watch Rangers, they see them against a low block struggling. That nobody in Europe has sitting against Rangers and made it difficult for Rangers. The majority of the teams that play Rangers in Europe go and attack them, and it suits Rangers. So whether it be the next round or the round after that, I think that until they come up against a team that sits in and makes it difficult for Rangers, you can see Rangers getting to maybe the quarter semi-final, final, and the way it's going now, because they are so well equipped in this style of football to go and attack teams on the counter-attack, particularly now if they stick with the back three, with the two wing-backs, the three in the middle of the park, and the pace they've got up front.
Yeah, sometimes you can. I always remember many a manager saying to me, "It's better being lucky than good." But the one thing that I'm very cautious of the way my next statement is going to come out about Barry Ferguson. But first and foremost, when we're talking about Mourinho, he didn't mince his words. He said, Rangers deserved the win. Didn't make any excuses about it, and he was very complimentary, Jose Mourinho, about Cyriel Dessers as well.
I have to say that we deserve the punishment of these results. Then, if somebody later want to ask me, do I think it's over? No, I don't think it's over. I think there is 90 or 120 minutes to play.
Well, that's interesting. He's not counting them out.
No, and I think actually the tie is very much now balanced in Rangers' favour. I think Fenerbahce need to come out. They need to attack Rangers. I think that will play to Rangers' strengths. Gives them the space to maybe go and pick them off. One goal at Ibrox would change it's tie over. However, I do think when it's just a 2-goal cushion, it can be quite precarious. If Fenerbahce were to come out and get the first goal, it maybe just plants a seed of doubt. However, what Rangers will feel in the evidence of last night is that this is a team that they can get in behind. It's a team that they can score against. It's a team they had so much joy. That could have been a much more comprehensive win last night. So I think they'll be emboldened by the manner of the performance. It's not as though they were hanging on to take something back to Ibrox. They were the dominant force within that tie, that first leg last night, and I think that will offer so much encouragement going into the second leg. I think he's right. He's not going to come out and concede that the tie's over. He's saying everything that you would expect him to say. How they go about it, though, could well play into Rangers' hands.
I think James, who's on our feed, has pointed out something that so many people are asking, Ruffy, which is, why are they only able to do this in European football? We've already discussed the style, but there's got to be something mentally, because away from home with a small band of Rangers fans there, they're able to, concentrate in the football. 50,000, the first boo that comes out, they just seem to collapse.
Pressure, that's what it is. Sometimes players, I think we discussed it the other week there, that a lot of players can't handle it. When they go behind and they've got 50, 60,000 supporters breathing down their neck, they find it hard to respond to that situation. It's absolutely amazing. We're sitting here and the Rangers have just went away in Europe and won 3-1 and we're still a wee bit anxious about the home game. If that had been the other way about,
I'm not anxious. I think Rangers are through.
I
think Rangers are through.
I think so too.
On paper, yeah.
I cannot see them.
But in the evidence of Motherwell and Queen's Park, if you're a Rangers supporter, if you've been to these games at home,
I think it's to do with space. I think they really struggle when teams sit in against them and then they toil to break them down. And then if you're playing at Ibrox,
Fenerbahce can't do that 2-0 down.
Exactly. Yeah. The tie, they have to come out and have a goal, which I think lends itself to Rangers' favour. But I think Rangers are a much better team when they've got space to play.
Yes, but with all due respect, and I'm just going to point this out as we're looking at the overall result, which I think Rangers deserve tremendous credit. But I'm looking at their side. Tadic, Dzeko, St Maximan come on. I mean, they've got players that are really good players. It's not as if it's
all past their best, Peter.
Well, of course they are, but it's a Europa League.
It's an ageing team for me. I think you've seen it last night. I thought Rangers looked fitter, sharper, quicker on the counter. I think they have got some good players. Dzeko's 38. I mean, he's been a fantastic player, but I think Rangers have just got too much energy for them, particularly after a real packed Ibrox.
My gut feeling on it, Ruffy, is, and I understand where you're coming from, is the fact that, as Tam pointed out there, I think the fact that Fenerbahce have got to come out and got to find 2 goals, that's where I think Rangers again should be able to pick them off. But the only thing I cannot get to grips with in my head is the fact that this Rangers side at home in front of Rangers supporters at times leave you utterly bemused. I mean, I watched the game against Motherwell And Motherwell were doing to Rangers what Rangers did to Fenerbahce last night. They were playing through them so easily in the weekend's game.
Yeah, I think obviously in the evidence of Queen's Park and Motherwell, Fenerbahce will be saying to themselves, look, if we go there and we get the first goal, we're back in this game. Because look what happens when they played against Motherwell. They froze. They couldn't get themselves back into the game. I thought Fenerbahce had enough chances last night to get a couple of goals. I'm not taking any away for Rangers. Rangers also had a chance to add to it as well. But they never. So I think it's all about the first goal at Ibrox, because it'll be a very nervous situation for the players and for the supporters if they were to score the first goal.
Yeah, another thing about it is if you pay anybody a compliment, usually on this programme you're accused of being their best mate. But listen, we have gone on Barry in 3 games from he got a battling performance out of them to, by the way, this is I remember us talking about the game.
Been a good lad after last night.
Well, no, because I was going to say to you, this is when we talked and discussed the Motherwell game. We were all on here and people were talking about, well, he's a dud coach and it's he's got his comeuppance because this team's just a shower of underachievers. And now, suddenly again, we were talking about it, Ali. Every one of us was mentioning if they can keep the tie alive. In our mind, the tie's dead. Rangers are going to go through.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think that's just football. I think fans, observers, we're all guilty of being very reactionary.
Noise up
at
merchants.
At points, I think sometimes, we're all in the moment of the immediate aftermath of a game. I think sometimes we're all guilty of a bit of hyperbole.
Yeah. What would you do if you were Barry Ferguson? This is a great dilemma again. What do you do, Ruff, if you're Barry Ferguson? You've got this game. Do you just go 3-5-2 again and then?
You've got to approach it the same way.
I think you've got to. They'll analyse the game. They'll see the success they got with playing that formation and the weaknesses that are in their team. They'll try and exploit that. You just hope you can go into the game and get the first goal. Get the first goal. I think the tie's over anyway, but if you get the first goal, you can then relax. Fans can enjoy it. The players can enjoy it. For me, it's all about the first goal.
Yeah,
I think Rangers need to keep 11 men in the park. I think if they do that, you need to watch with Hosie's teams, the dark arts and stuff like that. I think you need to be careful. He'll have them out to wind Rangers up, gain any sort of advantage. And Rangers get a man sent off, whatever, puts it back into Fenerbahce's cans a little bit. So I think Rangers just need not to take the bait, just go out and play the way they've been playing it in Europe at home, keep 11 men in the park, and I think they'll go through.
Yeah, thanks to so many of you who message us and give us your thoughts on not only Rangers but your own favourite team and of course Scottish football, European football, and when we look at English football. It's great to read out as many of your messages as possible. The only difference is, Ruffy, on YouTube you don't have actually their names. They can put in a handle and then you never see their name, and in most cases you don't see their face either. So it's a kind of your perfect keyboard warrior, although I like this boy's tag, neutral fan. Is there any such thing in Scotland as a neutral fan? And he reckons too much pressure at the big hoose. I like Brian, who I like.
Is he really neutral?
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking as soon as I read that. I like Brian. Brian sits at his keyboard, Ruffy, and thinks, right, I'll start the first 5 minutes of the show, and then it's typically he thinks, how can I have a go at Peter in the first 10 minutes and then absolutely cane him? And then how can I listen to the other 3 and come up with something that can annoy them? I mean, it's just absolutely magnificent. And he says, PLZ panel today, all auditioning again for Rangers TV.
It's always been the dream job for you. That's TV, then Rangers next.
If the gig comes up, you've got to take it, Ruffy. It depends. Well, for yourself, Ruffy, it depends on the dough.
It's a goalie doing, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be me.
By the way, for yourself, Ruffy, if the shekels are right, you're Offski.
Oh.
But I think we all know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But no, everybody's has an opinion, but I think he's got it wrong in this one. We're just talking about the game and the way we see it.
Yeah.
If he'd listened to us after the Motherwell game, we wouldn't have been on Rangers TV.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alison, I just don't think you're I don't think you're getting there no matter what you do to your hair over the next couple of weeks. And Gary says, Brian is always miserable, Peter. Yeah, listen, we embrace all moods and everyone.
All moods
It's Friday, man. Come
Yeah,
on.
absolutely. That's what I was looking at. We're not going to dwell too much on Hearts Dundee, but here are the fixtures for the Scottish Cup. Obviously, because Hearts Dundee is tonight, and by the time you watch this in the morning, and
You get through to that tonight, Peter?
LA.
Thought you might have been through to that and get your...
Alison's going through it.
You're not getting hospitality, no?
No. Hearts against Dundee, Aberdeen Queen's Park, Celtic Hibs, and Livingston against St Johnstone. So there's your 4 Scottish Cup quarter-finals. Tasty stuff. And, of course, Neil Critchley, like other managers for Hearts who've tasted semi-finals and finals, he's hoping he can get this team to Hampden.
Any chance to get to Hampden is a big game. It's a special game. So we know it'll be a tough game. Dundee had a lift last week with their point. Cup competition, so maybe slightly different approach in terms of how they'll feel psychologically going into the game. But it's about us. It's about how we play at home, and we want to make sure that we show a response from.
Yeah, mentioned to see how they get on against the Dundee side that are really struggling for form at the moment, but I fancy the Jambos to get through. Home advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the Scottish Cup now, and it was obviously Hibs were the longest without winning it. It's now been passed on to Dundee. I think they're well over 100 years since they won the Scottish Cup, so I think it will happen one day, but I don't think it will be this year. I tend to agree with you, unfortunately, that I think Hearts will bounce back for the defeat against Hibs and get through.
Yeah, I think the tie of the whole weekend is undoubtedly. Give us your thoughts on it. Tell us what you think.
A chance at Celtic, you're getting chances, but when you play against the big teams, you've got to take these chances. Any of the chances, I've got to take them, because sometime Celtic are going to run over the top of you. And I think the reason that they run over the top of teams is because teams go to play Celtic now and they try to press them for 10, 15, 20 minutes. And see, by the last 20 minutes, I think a lot of them are exhausted. And I think that's why Celtic eventually...
This is what he about this Hibs side. The context of the game is totally different to when we played a couple of weeks ago. The energy in the game will be very different. We were coming off the back of a really busy schedule. We came away from that game seeing a team that's in a different space to what they were at the beginning of the season. I expect a difficult game, but I expect Hibs to have a difficult game also. Of course, there was a controversial moment in it, but in the end, Hibs were able to capitalise. What do they have to do this time to try and get back-to-back wins?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Hibs got Celtic at a great time, coming back from Munich. The energy they put into that game, mentally, physically, it took a lot out of Celtic. I thought they started the game sloppily. Hibs were really good that day. I think obviously the decision, is a big moment in the game. It goes to 2-2, then who knows what happens. But I think Hibs need to keep it tight for first 20-25 minutes. I think Celtic will come rolling out the traps. I've been in that movie before. I remember beating Celtic in the quarter-final of the League Cup at Easter Road, 2-1, and then going to Celtic Park a couple of weeks later, and Celtic were waiting for us, 6-0 they beat us. I don't think it will be that type of scoreline, but Celtic will be waiting for Hibs. They'll be ready, they'll be smarting for that defeat, and they'll come flying out the traps. So I think Hibs need to keep it tight for the first 25 minutes, grow into the game and then take it from there, because if Celtic get an early goal, it could be a long day for Hibs.
Did you win that League Cup that year?
No, we lost to Livingston in the final.
Wow, incredible after beating. Did you not beat Rangers
in the semi?
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at the Hibs side, and I automatically just say to myself, when you're at Celtic Park, not only do you need a wee bit of luck, not only do you need to ride out that first 20 minutes. Ruffy's now saying you need more than a bit of energy to last in the final 15 minutes. And my fear is that probably Rocky Bashiri is going to bed tonight and thinking to himself, I hope Daizen picks up some kind of hamstring injury so that he's not as quick as he normally is.
Yeah, I think, no, that's not going to happen. I think he has the potential to have a really tough 90 minutes. I think Daizen Maeda has been exceptional across recent weeks, reflected in that Player of the Month award this week. I think Celtic will be a different beast, not just because of games at Celtic Park, but also just the timing of it. They were the free midweek going into it on the back of that win against St Mirren. I thought St Mirren were excellent against against Celtic last weekend. I thought they asked questions of them. I thought the way they set up, I thought it was never a 5-2 game when you look at it. So Hibs will look, they'll know that there are possibilities of getting at Celtic. However, I think Celtic are far too strong over the course of 90 minutes, and particularly at Celtic Park.
Yeah, Paul Brady's having a go at you, Tam. He's not happy. He says, "Oh, good idea, Tam. Don't talk about football on a football show." It was just painful for you, wasn't it? Do you know why I remember it so well, Tam? Because I was actually standing in the press box, and I've never seen so many Hibs fans get into their cars so quickly. I could hear the boy putting on the Star of Sunshine and Leith, and then he just lifted it off and threw the record and smashed it.
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously the biggest disappointment in my career, beating Celtic in the quarter-finals, beating Rangers in penalties. I think Frank de Boer missed a penalty at Hampden, and then going into that game of favourites, 40,000 Hibs fans, 4,000 Livingston fans. Yeah. We hadn't won a trophy in a long time, so that was a sore one. But yeah, just as I said to you, we beat Celtic in that run, and then we went to Parkhead a couple of weeks later, and you could just in the tunnel, you could just sense it with Celtic. They were going to give us it back, and they did. And I just hope that's not the case on Sunday.
Somebody said to me that, and they recalled that we've had them on some of the one-to-ones, and somebody said to me that the game after you played Celtic and you got absolutely trounced, that in the tunnel that day they said that you were the wee guy standing behind Russell Crowe in Gladiator, just fearing the worst. If you haven't seen the movie, wait till you see him. But over and above that, Ruffy, I was at the game, the Edinburgh Derby, and my God, I mean, Rocky Bushiri stood on the ball at one point, and he's dragging it like this, and all you could hear from the stands was panic, kick it, get rid of it. You know, there was that fear, and I sometimes think he has great moments, but he's one of those guys that there's always a mistake in him.
Yeah, he's vulnerable. I mean, any Hibs fan that goes to the games for the beginning of the season have seen that. He can make a tremendous clearance, or he could put it in his own net. You know, that's what kind of guy he is. You know, he'll always give you 100%. You can't complain with that. But he will struggle with pace. There's no doubt about that. That's the thing. I just think the two winners for Hibs could be the two Cadden boys. I think they've been fantastic. If they can get in advanced parts of the stadium and the park and put quality balls into the box. There was some quality balls he threw in against Hearts last week, and there was just nobody there to be on the end of them. So they're going to be big players, but the biggest player for me, for Hibs, is that goalkeeper. He needs to have a goalkeeper performance that he'll never ever forget.
Jordan Smith.
Because
you're not a fan.
He's just vulnerable. He's just, I don't know what it is. You know,
he's not commanding.
Unorthodox.
He's not commanding goalkeeper.
He makes unorthodox saves, like palming things that are right at him, and I don't know what it is, but we've seen it before. Who was the goalkeeper that get thrown in a Hibs final? Nobody knew who he was. Big guy.
Oh, the blonde
Logan.
Yeah.
He needs to have one of their games. He needs to have one of their games for Hibs.
Polar bear.
Is that what they call them?
Aye.
Yeah. He reminded me a bit of you, Ruffy, not in the fact that he could make great saves, because you were an absolutely magnificent goalkeeper, but Conrad adopted that attitude of, I'm not moving off the line for anybody. Yeah. So if the ball's coming in there, somebody else better head it, because I'm not going for it. Yeah. But he missed that key element that you had. You could produce great saves.
Yeah, I mean, every goalkeeper has a day like that, you know, and if you get a save early on, you know, things tend to go your way. My other wee worry is that we're talking about Schmeichel too much. Schmeichel's making too many saves for me, which means teams are getting beyond that back four, and he's having to produce the form that we only can do. So Hibs will have to put him under pressure as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed listening to his insight into coming to Celtic, and I think he was on the Overlap. I don't mind talking about people going on other programmes. It's nice to see Celtic just starting to lighten up now, Ali, and allowing their players to go on English-based podcasts. Always good. I'll tell you this one here from Dan. I'm not going to say where he's the exact translation on it. He says, but give it a rest. Rocky will play a blinder and he'll score as well. And then get it right. You know, he just mentions to all of us what he thinks about the whole situation with my assessment of Rocky Bashiri. But if you ask 90% of the Hibs fans, they're thinking the exact same way I am. I'll tell you one thing that's changed for this is David Gray knows, despite the fact that they were able to beat Celtic, he has highlighted the fact that they're coming up against a team of players that are playing at the absolute top.
Being, as they are, the best team in the league at the moment. As we talk about all the time, history tells you how difficult it is to go along there and win. I think it's the last time we actually won there. I heard another stat, Cup, which was 1902 or something like that. So it's a difficult place to go and win. We know that, but for us to win the Cup, which is one of our objectives at the start of the season, we're going to have to do that.
Oh, can you imagine you won the Cup as a player and a
Player of the
manager?
year. Manager of the year.
Yeah. It would be incredible, wouldn't it?
If Hibs won the Scottish Cup and finished third.
Manager of the year. Yeah.
And he was looking as if he was getting jotted in October. So
I spotted you. I read I read a couple of paragraphs into your column in the Daily Record, and then I thought,
good insight into Hibs and into David.
no, the word was erratic. Here's a guy. I mean, honestly, if you had one of those books where you decided, I'm going to put a scrapbook together of Tam and his column over the course.
I've been quite consistent with David Gray this season, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'd agree with you on Lee Johnson and Nick Montgomery. I was all over the place with it too, but with David Gray, I've been quite prepared to give him a chance even when things weren't going great. So
yeah, you have.
You're even giving the owners now a second chance.
I am.
Yeah,
I am, because somebody's left and I didn't really get on with.
Is there a sniff that you could be back in the co-commentary position?
I could get invited back to Easter Roads at some point, hopefully.
It'd be great to see you and Tanner
Sunday.
back in the commentary positions. It would be absolutely fantastic. Couldn't think of anything.
Hibs fan as well, David.
Couldn't think of anything better. You're going to get leathered. Couldn't think of anything better. I'm back there in the co-commentary position.
14-game, no winning run in the 14-game, no winning run in the manager they've got.
Are you turning into something?
Some of the teams that Rangers and Celtic come up against, it's as if it's no any worthwhile going to form on certain nights, and it just proves that I'm not saying the Scottish game and as a whole is fantastic, but I think these two on their night can take on anybody.
Yeah, even at 75%, Alison, you've said consistently, when Celtic are even a little bit off it, they're still able to defeat teams. If anything, Hibs have got a wee bit of confidence from what they did at Easter Road.
Yeah, I think as well, I think they've got a bit of confidence, not just from the win Easter Road last weekend against Hearts and the win over Celtic a couple of weeks back in the league, but also just the momentum that they take with them into this game. The fact that of results that's really elevated them up the table. They're in a position now that they'd have bitten. So I think there's the whole mood around the club and around the team was a couple of months ago. When you look at this tie, and the expectation is that Celtic get through it, that Celtic go on and progress. So I think it puts the onus on Celtic to go out and win the tie. I think I'd hesitate to use the term a free hit. I don't really like that, but I do think the pressure is all on Celtic rather than on Hibs.
I think the fact that Hibs are taking 7,000 fans is a huge boost for not only the players but for the whole team. I think to look out, to run out in a cup tie and look over and see 7,000 fans is going to give everyone a massive lift. I think that gives Hibs more of an opportunity to maybe get a shock result.
It's also there's a freedom in the fact it's a cup tie. It's not a league game. You know, go and ask questions. I think Hibs will be quite encouraged just by the success that they had against Celtic a couple of weeks ago. And I think they'll feel emboldened to go and try and ask those kind of questions. I think there are weaknesses or frailties within that Celtic team. I think you've seen them exposed at points within games. I do think as a collective and over the course of a 90 minutes that they've got enough to prevail and go on, but they're not invincible. This isn't a team that can't be got at. I think Hibs will know that just from the display a couple of weeks back. Nothing
better, 7,000 fans. You just run out there at Celtic Park and you just see a sea of green and white.
Yeah, and obviously there'll be signs as well. You know, that gives you a massive lift as well,
Yeah.
going out there. But it is better than no fans there at all. You know, you've got, and even if you get a goal, you know, it gives you that added lift as well, because the whole place will be bouncing.
What was your record like when you were a Hibs player against Celtic? Did you have?
Well, I only played. No, they beat us 3-2.
Yeah,
They beat us 3-2 at Easter Road.
that was the only time you played them.
The only time I played against Hibs, yeah.
The only time you.
Celtic, when I was at Celtic, the only time. Oh, you talking about when I was at Hibs?
Yeah, what's
against
your record
Celtic?
like? Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, not bad. Not
Yeah?
bad, yeah. Aye.
Yeah. Okay.
Aye, we beat
Better than it
Celtic
was
in the
against
League Cup
Hearts.
final.
Okay, we've given you as much as we possibly can on each team. So give us your prediction, Ruffy.
Celtic 2-1.
Tight is that?
Very tight.
Yeah. Ali.
I'm going to say the same. 2-1 Celtic.
Okay. Tam.
3-1 Celtic.
3-1 Celtic. A comfortable 3-1 or a
Yeah, I just.
or a Rangers 3-1.
No, I think
Emphatic.
I think Celtic could have a couple of goals up at half time. I don't know. I've just got a feeling in the bones that Celtic might be fired up and ready for Hibs on this
Yeah.
occasion. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Hibs get through, but I think Celtic will win.
Do you think if they were to defeat Celtic, they'd win the cup?
I'm loath to say that because I've just spoke about when we beat Rangers and Celtic and get beat off of Livingston, but I think they would be favourites to win it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I think it's.
It won't be on Hibs TV next week.
Yeah. I think Celtic to edge it 2-1. Howard has just said. I mean, obviously Howard's just a little bit more emphatic. He said 5-1 Celtic, and Tone says I'm going 3-1 Celtic. Daizen Maeda double, and Howard's just said a Yang hat trick. Which again, we always try and say to you, try not to hit the Kestrel at 20-5. You know, it's too early for you to go and start battering the beer. If Yang scores a hat trick, I think we should bring Howard into the show. Shall we bring Howard into the show?
Yeah, definitely.
If Yang scores a hat trick, Howard will come in. We'll give him one of the PLZ Maestro tops. And
Great to hear you're flying him in from Sydney.
and it's Howard, where do you live? Make your own way here. We'll give you a top. A Yang hat trick. Okay, let's see exactly how that all pans out. On the Saturday, the Dundee Dons are against Queen's Park. Okay, they were thumped by Celtic. They fought back against Dundee United. But I still don't think we've seen any kind of turning of the corner again from Aberdeen.
No, this will be a big one. This will be a big one for the players and for the manager. You know, this will be the one that if they do win, the fans will be right on board. They'll be shouting about semi-finals. They'll be shouting about finals. So yeah, it's a massive game. But they're obviously a wee bit anxious with the Queen's Park score against Rangers. You know, they've proved that they can go there and do that. I think Queen's Park this year have just been a wee bit inconsistent, as proven in the Championship. So Aberdeen have got to win this one, because their fans expect them to be in semi-finals.
Well, Jimmy Tulleen reckons they're going to have to be sharp right from the off.
Good team, how they play together. They have a good manager who have done a good job, and also how they approach the game against Rangers and stick together like they did in the defense. But also have the transitions and what they have in the game. So I think it's 90 minutes tomorrow in the cup. Everybody. So for me, it's like we have to be really sharp tomorrow and have a good start. That I think is important for the game tomorrow.
Yeah, just wondering, you know, Ruffy made a good point there. Can you think of any interview where a manager hasn't paid tribute to the other manager?
Yes.
Go on.
Jose Mourinho to Philip Clement.
Yeah, midweek.
When he asked who?
Yeah.
So that's one. But by that, not many. But I've seen Queen's Park during the week. I was at the game against United. I thought for an hour they looked decent. I think they'll cause Aberdeen problems. They've got some decent players, younger players in the forward areas. Zach Rudden led the line well, but I think Aberdeen will go through.
Yeah.
I think they'll go through narrowly. I don't think they'll batter Queen's Park. Callum Davidson's double cup winning. You know, he's a good cup manager, but maybe narrow 2-1 to Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, I mean, if they go out to Queen's Park, if Queen's Park can add Aberdeen to the scalp of Rangers, Callum Davis, I think suddenly the stock, and people will start to look at him again and think, well, maybe maybe St Johnstone made a mistake in sacking him too hasty, which I thought they did anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say, I think Aberdeen will win it. I think they'll come through it. However, I think Queen's Park will view it as an opportunity to go and try and repeat the feat, try and go and approach the game the same way that they did against Rangers. I think they deserved a lot of credit for how they set up, how they took their chance in that game, and they'll go and try and frustrate Aberdeen for long spells and then just hit them on the counter-attack. I would agree with you. I think if you're to take Rangers' scalp at Ibrox and then go all the way up to Pittodrie and win as well, I think Callum Davidson would be coming back to his name in Bunton at Hampden.
Yeah, I think and Louis Longridge would be getting resuscitated. But
if Queen's Park win that game, of the SFA got a problem with where they play the semi-final?
No.
Would they get playing at home?
Well,
Queen's Park?
I don't think it would be that much of a problem for them, unless...
Well, it depends who they're drawn against.
Exactly, and then people would... We'll certainly make an issue of it, Robbie. but there's a comfortable win. 3-0 with Nisbet, the first scorer, says Michael Taylor, just obviously trying to give you a little hint about where to put your money. Aurora, this is one for you, Ruffy. It says 5-0 to the Dons, easy. I have my 15-foot flag washed, ironed and ready to go. The flags are slowly but surely they're contemplating it. The guy who is the flamethrower, he hasn't quite brought that back out yet at Pittodrie. I think it's been all very low key since they went on that poor run.
No, but I think it's great when all the flags are up there. You know, they are pretty impressive when you see them, and they're even more impressive at a final, you know, when there's more spectators in the ground.
Yeah. William Smith says, afternoon, Peter, Ruffy, Tam and lovely Alison. Love the red lipstick. Looking not bad, Ruffy. Yeah, absolutely, you're looking great.
You made an effort today, it's good for Alison.
You clearly didn't. Gilla. That hair of yours, have you worked out what you're doing yet? You're going to go
along? All right now. I'm quite happy with the new Peter. I'm going to grow it, and it's in that horrible phase where it's not quite short, not quite long.
Just out of curiosity,
I need to be patient with it.
Are we talking Jimmy Bullard growing? Yeah.
Talking Scott Allen growth.
Is that right? Yeah. I notice you're in there admiring him a lot, thinking that's the way to look. Will you be adding the Clark Kent glasses?
Possibly. Well, I've noticed my eyes deteriorating in the last 6 months to a year.
Still debating what colour it's going to be?
That's just normal.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I'll have a good head of hair, but I think it'll be very grey shortly.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go for Aberdeen to edge it. Extra time.
Extra time. Aberdeen to win 2-0.
2-1 Aberdeen.
Yeah.
3-0 Aberdeen.
Emphatic.
There's a bit double.
Okay. Think he's getting back to his best?
I think he is. I think he looks fitter now.
He looks much fitter.
He's playing with confidence. I think I just said 2-1 about 5 minutes ago to Aberdeen, so I'm going to change that to 3-0.
Right, okay. God, that's on a programme. What's he like in his column? It's unbelievable. It's the most erratic column I've ever read. Livingston against St Johnstone on the Monday. Of course, Saints drew with Dundee. Livingston unbeaten in 11 games. And is it great that we've got our old mates? He's a good lad. He's a great lad. We love him. David Martindale, Livingston manager, saying it would be an absolute treat for his players to be going to the National Stadium.
But to do it with fans, I think that was the biggest disappointing from my time, the last time in the League Cup. You don't really, sometimes I'll be critical of fans moaning, fans are critical of me, but it's not until you've not got them you realise that's what the game's all about. So, went through tough times during COVID, and it wasn't nice, and then getting to a cup final, getting to a semi-final with no fans, it really takes away from the occasion.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I watched them, and I thought they were really good against Cove Rangers, Ruffy. They played some really nice football, and they can mix it up, because there are some times when they think, well, we can't beat you for football, we'll just go and make it physical.
No, they're a hard team to beat. There's no doubt about that, particularly at home. We've heard even Rangers and Celtic managers saying it's very difficult going there with that surface. It's very noticeable the St Johnstone managers saying it's going to pick a team that will be good on that surface. You know, he's noticed that when in his homeland, that when they played against teams that had the AstroTurf, he picked players that he thought would suit the occasion.
Technical players?
Aye, you know, players that are weird players, trickier players that can turn and that kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see what his team selection is. But again, you know, it's all about two smaller teams than the rest of them. And without being disrespectful for them, the other three winners will be hoping they get one of them.
Yeah. Who are you going for then, Ruffy?
In this one?
Yeah.
I'm going to go for Livingston because I like Davy Martindale.
Yeah. I'm going to go for Livy 1-0.
I'm going to go for St Johnstone after extra time.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for Livingston and all.
Okay.
I'd like to see Livingston win.
Give us your thoughts on that one. We'll have more chat after the news.
Hi there, I'm Kerry and here is your Scottish Daily News headlines on Friday the 7th of March, brought to you by Arnold Clark Rewards. Buy a car, download the app and get rewarded. Rangers manager Barry Ferguson ensures that his men are not out of the woods just yet as they welcome Fenerbahce to Ibrox next week in the second leg of their Europa League playoff.
There's no way that I'm getting carried away here. This is only half time in the tie. Fenerbahce are, in my opinion, as I said yesterday, a very good team who I think are one of the favourites to win this competition, and also they've got one of the best managers it's ever been, so they're going to be hurting.
Fenerbahce boss Jose Mourinho didn't hold back when asked about any promising moments his side might have had in their defeat to Rangers last night.
And from this game, I don't take any positive. Everything went wrong, and the good actions we had and the good chances we created. Jack Button made a fantastic saves, so even that went wrong. So there are no positives of the match today. The only thing positive is that we have a second match to play. That's the only positive.
And finally, Livingston boss David Martindale insists his men won't be distracted by this weekend's Scottish Cup tie against St Johnstone as Livingston continue to push for promotion to the top flights.
Wednesday's got no impact on Monday's game, Monday's got no impact on Saturday's game, and that's kind of what we spoke about as a group, and I think it's important to coach that way. So you can't change your past, you put it to bed.
Now there's an interesting dilemma that he mentioned there. Ruffy, I'm going to give all of you the option on this one because we've got a fantastic one-to-one straight talk programme coming up with James MacArthur, who obviously won the FA Cup with Wigan, played in the final against Manchester United when he was at Crystal Palace as well. And it's just a great insight into James's brilliant career. It was a really great hour spent in his company. And he said that 90%, now remember, Wigan won the FA Cup and 3 days later lost to Arsenal and were relegated. And he said, you know, when you look back at it, 90% of the Wigan side would have taken staying in the Premier League rather than winning an FA Cup. He says, but now, as they get older, they all say, you know, probably 99% of them would say, no, the FA Cup's great because we're etched in the club's history. It'll never be taken away from us. We've got an FA Cup medal. You've got your shirt. So, Ruffy, you know, that's the dilemma. I wonder if you were saying to the Livy players, do you want Premier League football or you win the Scottish Cup?
As far as Livingston's concerned, you know, I think the Premier League financially is a saviour for them. You know, the club and the players. You know, I think they think they're bigger than the Championship. But for me, winning a cup would highlight, you know, if I was going to get relegated, because if you get relegated, your wages get cut.
Yeah. So what are you saying? Would you take
the cup?
Take the cup?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and get relegated with your wages getting cut?
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite unusual for you, Ruffy. You're usually quite cynical and it's all about the bucks, but this time
around, I think any football player who, as you've just said there, wins a cup is etched in the history of that club, and you can go back at any time.
Yeah.
Who was our two Scottish players in that Wigan Cup winning team?
Derek Caldwell.
Sean Moore.
Yeah.
Can you come up with some hard questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Ali?
Yeah, I think if you ask a player and ask a club, you might get two different answers. I think for a club, the finances of going back up could be the difference between the club surviving or not. If you look at what's happened to Hamilton since they were relegated, I think it might serve as a warning to other clubs and how difficult.
We get freed the next year.
I know. See, that is a dilemma.
Yeah.
It is.
Why are you looking at me, Ruffy? It's difficult, really painful. It's difficult, really painful.
You're really the guy that kind of bucks the trend of that question. You're just really the guy that kind of bucks the trend of that question. You're just a.
It's one of them.
You're just. It's a serial loser. It's as simple as that. I would actually. I would hope that I'd played an absolute blind. Got myself a move. I'd take the cup.
I think when you're looking at that sort of money that Ruffy says in league, say you're maybe on 30 grand, you're thinking to yourself, probably rather stay up for me than winning the cup.
Yeah.
You're right. I think you're for me than winning the cup.
Yeah.
You're right. I think you're go. I'm glad I won that cup.
What helped the interview with James was I knew there was. He won the cup. They get relegated. James got a move, which is absolutely fantastic. Give us your thoughts. Who do you think is going to win through to the semi-finals in the cup? Who do you think is ultimately going to win it? We've talked at great length and been very positive about Rangers in their European performance. I've mentioned two of the best performances this season in Europe. Rangers against Fenerbahce, certainly one of them, and the other one is Celtic's performance in Germany against Bayern Munich, which was just absolutely sensational as well. Two great performances by Celtic and Rangers, helping the coefficient along the way. Give us your thoughts on Europe. Will Fenerbahce come to Glasgow, attack and in the end prevail, or will Rangers, on the back of that brilliant 3-1 win, build on it and knock Jose Mourinho's team out of the Europa League? Give us your thoughts on that, and of course the four ties in the Scottish Cup. We want to hear what you've got to say on that as well. Great to have your company on the programme as ever. There's always time for a wee sneaky look at the fixtures down south. Ruffy, I think it's really a case of just waiting now as Liverpool head towards.
How lucky the other night.
Well,
come on, man. That's one of the biggest tankings I've ever seen.
Well, I was going to say to you, there's the ties for the Premier League. Nottingham Forest, Manchester City, Brighton against Fulham, Crystal Palace, Ipswich, Liverpool, Southampton, Brentford, Aston Villa, Wolves against Everton, Chelsea, Leicester, Tottenham, Bournemouth, Man United against Arsenal on Sunday, and Monday's West Ham, Newcastle United. I give to you, Ruffy, and I'm going to rack my brain. I'm picking him up on his point about Liverpool in the Champions League. It is one of the greatest performances I've ever seen by a goalkeeper, and the biggest mugging in many a year for Liverpool against PSG.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Liverpool goalkeeper, that's why I always shake my head when people say, oh, you don't need a good goalkeeper to win anything. That proves the point. If you haven't got a good goalkeeper, you're not going to get anywhere at any level in the game, and he certainly at this moment in time is the number one in the world.
Yeah, have you ever seen a better performance? I mean, he made save after save. It was incredible. I was sitting there watching it thinking, this is unbelievable. Liverpool can't get out of their own half. The boy Dembele was outrageous. He was beating them left and right.
Yeah, I mean, every goalkeeper has that kind of game, but not at that level, But he's absolutely fantastic, and he's proved it year on year. He's had a couple of bad injuries, but who was the goalkeeper Liverpool got to the final with Liverpool and they lost it?
Karius, when he threw it in.
Yeah. They had that. Imagine getting to a final and having a goalkeeper like that and letting you down.
Yeah, I mean, Allison is absolutely top drawer, Allison.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Outstanding. But yeah, you can understand the reaction in the French media this week to that result.
Isn't it amazing that PSG are actually a better side without,
I thought PSG were tremendous.
Neymar, Mbappe and Messi out of the side?
They've got rid of the big superstars, and
there's more balance in the team.
More balance, and they've signed the Georgian lad for Napoli.
He's absolutely
Kvaratskhelia.
Yeah.
Probably butchered his name, but he's a good player as well. They've got a better balance. And I thought they were tremendous. Any other night, they win that game 3 or 4-0.
Yeah.
And but I don't think that tie's dead. If PSG go and put that same performance in at Anfield, they'll beat Liverpool. Yeah. And they'll get as unlucky again.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to go Liverpool to win and shut you up. Just out of curiosity, have you ever, that you're probably the one person on this, you forgive me for this, Alison, but you're the one person on this couch that can give us the greatest insight into this question. Have you ever in the many occasions you were substitute, come off the bench and your first touch put the ball in the back of the net?
Yes. Hibs against Dundee United, Tannadice. David Zatelli got took off. I went on 0-0. Russell Lappy got the ball, steadied me, ball inside the full-back. Second touch, took a touch, fired it past Alan Coombe, 1-0, up the road, win bonus. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your auntie.
Absolutely, fantastic.
Never been substituted in 20 years.
No, absolutely not.
Different position, being a goalie, but
yeah, absolutely.
I was an impact player.
Excuse me, but I've never been on the bench either.
Yeah, exactly. You were in you were in 1986. I have to tell you, you were on a holiday.
Yeah, that was a World Cup.
Yeah. But Ruffy, have you ever been in goal when a substitute comes on and bang, first touch past you?
No, that I can remember.
No,
I remember the opposite when Partick Thistle, when Wee Betty was in charge, when I think it was Maurice Johnson came on off the bench, and 5 minutes into the game, Wee Betty shouted something at Maurice, and Maurice shouted something back, and Wee Betty hauled him off. And we were playing Aberdeen, we were winning 2-0 at the time, and about 15 minutes ago, I'm going, Aberdeen are all over us. What's happened? I never noticed they'd went off, and I was going 1, 2, 3, 4.
Only 10 of you.
You've only got 10.
What do you mean you never noticed?
I never noticed because he was near the dugout when he took him off.
Ali, he's playing for Thistle. They're well used to being on the back foot with teams dominating them. Anyway, it was absolutely... Did you see Liverpool going through or PSG? Anfield, Ali?
I think
the Anfield atmosphere, which is crap.
Yes. It's not great. Ruffy?
We need Salah to come up with the goods.
Yeah.
I think PSG might go through.
Is that right? All right, okay.
Put it this way, it's still very much in the balance.
Enjoy Tynecastle tonight. Ali, you're going to cover that for us, and if you want to keep right up to date with all the Scottish Cup ties, then download the PLZ Soccer app and, of course, our social media right across all our platforms. Thank you to so many of you for giving us your support. Whether you watch the programme live or indeed you pick it up at your own time, what we're finding, Ruffy, is the research is the fact that so many people are watching on our YouTube channel on their big screen, on their telly.
It's fantastic, they are.
Do you know how we do that, Ruffy? Do you know how we do that?
No, not all of it. Some of it, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right, you know, what other company does it? No, Monday to Friday, Monday to Saturday. There's nobody covers what we cover.
I'll tell you what they do, Ruffy. They look at the programme and they copy everything that we do right across our social media. Sorry to say that, Ali, because I heard somebody in a newspaper bragging about their figures and what they're doing and everything, and I thought, wow, that's great coming from you lot. All you do is copy us.
Innovative.
Absolutely, and of course...
Serious form of flattery.
That's the case, and that's why Ali eventually signed for us, because she could see what was happening. Quick, jump off that newspaper ship.
Quickly, to reviewers, Paradise on Disney Plus, great series, isn't it, Ruffy?
Yeah.
Wonderful. I know we like to talk about some series and that, so that, and then there's a new one, Fear, Martin Compston, just come out. That's something to watch every weekend.
Yep, okay. And
don't forget putting variety in the show.
I was just about to say.
It's a cultural show.
And don't forget, if you're looking for the new kind of a carbonara, Ruffy's got his own cookery show on PLZ.
Edinburgh Zoo's with a show.
Yeah, absolutely. And
anything else was no covered.
Yeah, exactly. And Ali, I'm not going there with you on anything. I just want you to enjoy the game tonight and do your best reporting. It's as simple as that. Thanks to Ruffy, thanks to Tam, and to Allison McConnell. And thanks to you for hitting the subscribe button in PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Figures are absolutely fantastic. We are growing bigger and better, and we're going to bring you even more content. Straight Talk will return. We've got the journals, we've got the women's football show, we've got our own football show, the Saturday preview with Kerry, and our reporters out at grounds. What more do you want? 7 days a week, providing you with all the football content, and we're up against the big guys and we're giving them a run for their money. So thank you to you for your support in this. It wouldn't be possible without you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.